Oh, I got something in the post. Let's unbox it, because everybody knows how to... No, it's not an unboxing video. It's the next project. Came from China. Advertise on eBay, this company do, as well as on AliExpress, and I've used their kit before, and their kits are they're quite good, and they actually sound quite reasonable. Some of the components a little bit to be desired, and you end up changing them for slightly better bits, but come in a nice box, and it took what, about a week to get here, so you know, whatever. It's a box that comes as a kit for a guitar effects pedal. Now let me just unwrap this sellotape. I have unwrapped this already. You know, this is no surprise. This is no. Oh, what a lovely unboxing we're doing here. It comes complete. It is a complete kit, although in this case the metal box, which as you see is very, very shiny and sparkly, isn't actually drilled, and it does have a few bits of space dust in the bottom, where the aluminium's been sanded, and you can see a bit of overspray there where they've all been blasted on a bench. Obviously this type of effect isn't a smooth finish. You know, it is quite a lumpy lacquer because of the metal flake that's in the paint, but as far as you know, metal boxes go, it's a nice little metal box. So anyway, I'm going to put that back in its bag just to keep it from getting damaged, and what I'm going to concentrate on today, let's roll that down, put it in a cardboard box again, let's take bubble wrap and recycle that in the bin, and let's actually open the bag of components. It sounds very much like an unboxing video, I know, but it's not meant to, because I don't like those things really, you know. Hey look, I've ordered something from abroad and it's come in the post in a bag. It's a Tremolo effects pedal, and you know, it's, what did it cost? 16 quid. 16 quid for the Hammond copy box and the complete kit. Put it this way, if you wanted to buy a coloured Hammond box on its own, I think you get them for around £12 in the UK. So as a DIY kit, it's not a bad little kit at all. Now looking at how it's built and how it's put together, the instructions are usually pretty good. Obviously you have to be a little bit careful, not with the building of the circuit, but more with the making sure your components line up with the metal box and you drill holes in the right places. But that is really all you've got to worry about. You know, you can use it standalone like it is, and in fact it looks like somebody's put some components already through the board. So let's open this and see what you actually get. Okay, well, it looks like you even get 4 rubber feet for the base of the box. They've not been soldered in, but you've got transistors in the board, and what does it say? 2N3904s and a J201, so that's a FET, but it doesn't say J201 on it, so it's obviously a replacement component. 3904, 3904. So what have we got? We've got, let's get the thing. You've got your battery clip, some hookup wire, you've got all your resistors in one bag, your capacitors in another, 1, 2, 2 pots, 3 pots. So you've got your 3 pots for your controls. Your jack sockets, you've got 2 of those, and your 3 standard looking knobs, DC input socket, and even an LED, I'll get my words straight, in a nice chrome bezel thing. Now, for 16 quid, including the metal box, it's incredible value for money. The average boutique pedal will cost you, anywhere between 60 and 300 pounds, and it will probably not sound any different. Now, I can almost guarantee that this is a clone of something else, but exactly what, they don't tell you, because obviously they don't want to run into copyright issues. But I'm sure if I looked through enough Tremolo circuit diagrams, I'd find the original, and it will be a clone of something famous. So I suppose the thing to do is to get on with actually putting it together. And again, because the board is already marked up with what the components are and where things should go, the actual construction should be fairly straightforward. You'll notice even that this guy who assembles these kits, or this company that assembles these kits, actually writes the values of every resistor on the paper end strip. So again, an ideal beginner's kit. Because it's not using ICs, it's old style discrete components. It's an analog tremolo circuit. I wonder whether it's actually true tremolo. It might be a reverb circuit, but you never know until I actually fire it up and see what it's doing. You don't get a full circuit diagram. You only get a components layout. I could, as I say, take a photograph of this, reverse engineer it, and work out what goes where and what it's actually doing. Might be an idea to do that actually, just for the fun of it. I might take it. The easiest way to do that is to either take a large photograph or scan it on my scanner, and then I could actually oh, that would be a naughty thing to do, George. You're thinking naughty thoughts there. Reproducing boards yourself. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so before we get stuck in, I'll just take a quick photograph of the board. Back in a minute. Right, here we are back again. As you see, I took the transistors out to take the photograph on the scanner, and here we are. We're just going to solder in the first resistor, which was already placed in the board for us. Now, I'm not sure. Doesn't feel quite as nice as it should. Up comes the lovely penguin kitchen roll that we have here. I'm just going to degrease the board, because I'm not sure that there isn't some sort of muck on it that's stopping the solder flowing properly. God, I'll learn to talk one of these days. So it's just a case of starting with the small components, as usual with all the lunchtime electronics bits, and that usually means the resistors as they sit furthest down on the board. So do I do it the easy way? Yeah, I suppose I'll go by their thing. So what's that say? 15k? I think that's what it says. Does it have space for two 15ks? One there and one there. So yes, let's do it that way. Like so. It actually looks like the spacing on these is quite good. The components are, if I remember to stay on target here, the components aren't exactly jammed as tight as possible as they could be. No doubt you could actually shrink this board to, well, easily a tenth of its size if you used surface mount. Let's face it, it's not exactly high current, and the transistors and everything else, you could get away with minuscule components on this. 560k, yep, so we've got a pair of those. Let's just have a look where they are. There's one. 560, get in there. Yeah. They've even left enough space at the end of the legs so you're not bending them right at the end of the component, which is quite good. So 560, 560. So we got the, which is there, and that one, when I turn it over, it should read 2.2 meg. 2.2 meg. So there we are. That is literally all the resistors in place, ready to solder. So there we go. Nice and easy. Just turn the meter off and move it out of the way a bit so I've got some workspace. Now it's better, the solder is flowing. Well, that one, well, that's really weird. They've drilled an extra hole underneath the 47 ohm resistor so that it's not on a pad. Oh well, there must be a reason for it, but I haven't figured it out yet. Come on, that's it. So that's all the resistor leads soldered. And the tip, get cutters and chop them all off. Come on, out you come. And the last one. Bent over a little bit, let's just trim that off. Right, so there we go. One left. Last one there. So that's all the resistor legs taken off. So let's just move them to one side. Now, the reason I think they gave you the transistors folded over like this is because they have to be laid flat on the board to make it fit in the box. So I'm just going to put them back with them laying as flat as possible. J201, which wasn't a J201, was it? It was that one. There's the back, so that will go through like that. There's not enough space to lay it that way. What if I lay it down? Mind you, saying that, by the time we put the capacitors on, they're going to stick up further than that. So yeah, I might as well just pop them in as a normal orientation. Make sure that's 3904 again. Yeah, that's another one. So that's the 3 transistors back, like that, and like that. And again, with transistors, as you know, most of you will know already, you try and minimise the heat on them. Come on, flow. That's it. So as not to damage them. Although on these circuits you can use pretty much bulletproof transistors. You can use something far more rugged than some of the delicate circuitry that you get in modern electronics, because it's just the way these things are. Certainly the older transistors were a little bit fragile, some of the very early transistors, but modern transistors themselves are sort of quite indestructible, really. You can obviously break them, but they're not really static sensitive anymore. So what have we got here? We've got an electrolytic, we've got all these polycaps, which are, some of them are a little bit badly moulded, but 63 volt 474, 474, yeah. Well, they just go through the hole, and yeah, they're even taller than the transistors. So what's that one? 474. There. None of these are polarized, so they just you pop them in the board, you stick them down as far as they'll go. These look like standard 1 microfarad decouplings, so just in, get off, in and in. So we'll just solder those down. Just clean the tip again. What's the time? Yeah, we're going to have a camera break in a bit because we're down to a minute left. Microfarad, pop that capacitor in there, just solder that in, and then I shall refer back to the diagram and see what else we have to do. There we go. So what have we got left to do? You've got all the pots, you've got 9 volt plus, you've got the switch. Now the switch will go on the board because that's how it's designed, and the switch will actually support the board in position. The rest of this looks like you drill it into the metal box and put your holes in as and where you need them. So again, with these, because these are quite an awkward thing to solder on, I could get the vise out and you put it in a temporary vise and you could hold it down, but again, what we'll do is we shall just blob one joint and then make sure it's sitting flat, and then just do the rest. Now I could at this point if I learnt to speak again. I could at this point change solder size to a larger solder, but because again this is not designed as a you're working on a full workbench with all the possible options you could have type project, I won't. I'll just use the one grade of solder and use more of it. And it's just a matter of soldering it up like this. Go back to that one we first did, just to fill it in. And just fill it in until it flows all the way around on the pad. And that is the switch in place. All that's left now is your battery connector, which you can put in there, plus and minus. These leads are already tinned. I've got to admit I don't normally put a battery in the boxes when I make guitar pedals. I always prefer to have external supplies, but I know some guitarists like everything to be self-powered. I've always personally got my kids to use external power supplies. That way you don't, in the middle of a show, get a dead battery. You just you can keep, as long as you've got mains, you can keep playing, and if you haven't got mains, nobody's going to hear your guitar anyway because the amp's gone dead. So yeah, let's just blob on there, blob on there. One's come out, that one because it wasn't in properly. So again, we'll just warm that up till it comes through. There we go. So that's the power connector, or that's the battery connector. So what have we got left? So we've got the jack sockets, which would go somewhere in the box. You've got your pots, which will go somewhere, and you've got your lead, which will go somewhere. Now, looking at this, you've got LED minus there, LED plus there. So at this point, you're relying on your metalworking skills to put the thing together. What I shall do is I shall not put it in the box yet. I shall actually build it standalone on the bench and use flying wires to connect everything up so that we can see it working, and then the metal working we can do at another stage. Yes, as I don't know if you can see that, but 3:36 AM. I'm not going to start drilling metal boxes at this time of night. For some reason I think the wife might get a little bit upset. Don't know why. The other thing that's, in a way it's good with these kits, but in a way it's not, is you only get one colour of wire. So yes, you can get away with using it, but again, because we're going to be doing this properly, I'm going to first of all unstick the bits of metal from my arm, and then I've just got some wire there. Do I want to use that? Yeah, I might as well use that wire. We just have to then add in the pots and the controls. So what I'll do is I'll make up the flying leads and all the rest of it, rather than do that on camera. You'll just see me using that. I don't know whether I'll use this or not. I might actually use the multi-core flat ribbon stuff and just do a temporary sort of build with that for this time. Yeah, back in a minute and we'll build it up.